His counterpoint to Hamilton is Thomas Jefferson. Now, Thomas Jefferson is the Secretary of State under Washington, and he believes that Hamilton's program is a mistake and that will lead to big bureaucracy. And Jefferson does not want a big federal government. He's fearful of a big army and a big navy because he fears that will turn into a military coup. So he likes the sort of present social structure, that is the social structure that exists in America in the 1790s, and he wants a broad electorate. So he sees America in the 1790s as one with a lot of people, with not a lot of elite. Right, so a lot of people sort of in the middle. Right? There's slaves at the bottom, and there's a lot of people sort of in the middle, and then there's just a few elite. And he wants to increase that middle category. So he wants a lot of people who are independent, who have property, who don't work for employers. They can be can vote without worrying that their employer won't like the way they vote. And he really wants small farmers to be the majority of the country. And he wants a way to sort of, he thinks that farmers are sort of morally better people, right? They're more interested in being a good citizen than they are in about getting more money. So he thinks this will keep the republic in good shape and last a little longer if you have morally good citizens. And he fears if America becomes industrial, it becomes manufacturing like Hamilton wants, that the only truly independent people will be factory owners. So in other words, the employers will be the new aristocrats, and everybody else will be subject to what the factory owners, what those employers want them to do. Right? And he doesn't want that sort of polarization. He thinks that this will lead to a few rich people and a lot of poor people. And this division comes down to a difference between intensive versus extensive development. So intensive development is the idea that Hamilton has that the way to build a country is to manufacture it, put a lot of development, manufacturing within the country's border. And extensive development is Jefferson's idea that all the industry, all the manufacturing should be in other countries, and that America should be the breadbasket, should produce the food for the rest of the countries, and use that to buy any manufactured goods that they need, but that there shouldn't be any factories in America. Now, from 1788 to 1800, the Federalists were in charge of the government, and the first and second presidents, George Washington from 1788 to 1796, and then John Adams from 1796 to 1800 were Federalists, and people voted for them. And they voted for them even though the Federalists in general were people who believed that the elite should rule, that there shouldn't be broad voting rights, that there should be sort of a limitation, there should be more manufacturing, but that they should not extend rights to more people, nor should more people gain property, right? This is not what they wanted. And yet people voted for them. Now, why did they vote for them? Because they sort of were used to the British model, and they were used to elites running things well, right? They trusted gentlemen, and they trusted their stability. And on top of that trust, they also see Jefferson as trying to destroy the Constitution. And so here's there's a lot of rhetoric about Jefferson being a real radical, being secretly French, and here's an image of him literally putting the Constitution of the United States on an altar, and with the sort of the devil helping him. You see in the bottom right-hand corner, the devil helping him adding that fire. Now, some of this cartoon, this is a political cartoon, some of this cartoon points to specific political machinations that are happening in the 1790s that I'm not going to go into right now. But they look at this, they see Jefferson as a true danger, and yet in 1800, things started to change, right? Things switch, and Jefferson ends up becoming elected president. And the election of 1800 was between Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, right? So Adams was president, he was the second president from 1796 to 1800, and Jefferson won in 1800, partly because the Adams presidency was the one that turned people away from this Federalists, right? They saw John Adams as too Federalist, is too monarchical, right? Liking too much of the status and the gentleman, and that itself being problematic. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that next.